It is great to have you back here at Coin Lady channel. Legal action against Coinbase and Ripple has dealt a severe blow to the crypto basic coin market, according to a recent headline. By the way, this one is cool. It has been some time since I last provided an update on the channel regarding any matters pertaining to the Ripple or Coinbase lawsuits. That being said, the moment has come. Frankly, though, it's not surprising what they're finally discussing here. And it's ironic since it involves a prominent figure who is leading the charge against Coinbase, and in the face of rippling, he is unwilling to collaborate with. After a complete about-face on the veracity of cryptocurrency, Gary Gensler is now fully committed to advancing that cause at his new company. What was being said at the time was that Ripple and Coinbase were actively attacking XRP holders, which is completely opposite from what is happening now. Without a doubt. As I've already mentioned, this proves that the attorneys at the SEC do not believe the nonsense they've been saying. Just so we're clear, I don't come from a financial family or anything. My counsel has nothing to do with money. Furthermore, you should under no circumstances use anything I write or say to make a purchase or sale. For fun and as a pastime, I create videos on YouTube discussing cryptocurrency and related subjects. I'm just an enthusiast. Allow me to do a little table setup now. Since you are aware that Gary Gensler has been appointed chair of the SEC, I would like to share 3 news stories from the past several months with you. Just so I can make my point, I will not be reading the articles. This article is sourced from Politico. The SEC oversight staff is concerned about the workload under Gensler as of October 19, 2022. Working under Kim Jong-Kinzer has never been precisely a picnic, and that much was obvious right from the start. Look at this headline from February 10th, this year from CoinGate, people were actually departing. The SEC chair Gary Gensler is preparing for a personnel exodus as he pursues a $2.4 billion budget. How about that crew departing in big amounts to wage a war, essentially against crypto? Presenting yet another news item is the SEC chair. There will be gunfire following the election, Gary. This is all derived from Daily Coin. Being Kim Jong-Kinzer at this moment is really not ideal. It has improved things for everyone involved. Gallagher, sigh. Here is the headline, then. Bloomberg Law has this one. Unit for Crypto Litigation at SEC leader departs to become a part of White & Case. One of the SEC crypto unit's leaders, Leighton Stewart, who has been involved in high-profile legal battles with the industry, has departed the government to work for White & Case. The company stated in her position as head of the SEC's Crypto and Cyber Litigation Unit, which was the first of its kind at the Wall Street regulator. Witness to Stewart has 8 years of experience in the enforcement division of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Last June, she oversaw a lawsuit against Coinbase Global Bank, the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the country, for allegedly acting as an unregistered securities exchange broker and clearing agency. No big deal. Sure, it's plausible. Stewart subsequently held a prominent position at the SEC, where he vigorously opposed all things crypto for an astonishing 8 years, while Gary oversaw smooth operations. Yes, I will definitely leave this place as soon as possible. But consider the approach that these lawyers are instructed to take from on high. I imagine that many of them are in situations where they are instructed to argue a certain way. For some reason, I can't help but hold them responsible. I insist on blaming them for debating about things they obviously know to be false. And still, they go ahead and do it. Plus, it's repulsive. This is just a small flip. They're sincere in their efforts to put up a nice show. All that arbitrary and capriciousness, those figures, and all that things from the judges in different cases, horrific, ridiculous, and misleading. That sums it up. That's the crux of the matter. Finally, I'll let you in on a little secret from good old Leighton Stewart, he once said, and the piece continues. Along with the rest of the SEC team, she fought for quite some time. Is Ripple's XRP cryptocurrency an unregistered security? This is a question that has been plaguing the digital payment firm. Industry leaders celebrated last year's ruling by a federal judge in New York that the public sale of Ripple's XRP coin does not constitute the sale of a security. Gary Gensler, head of the SEC, has ruled that the majority of digital tokens are securities, and the agency has already begun the appeals process. Yes, it's clear that an interlocutory appeal was being considered, which didn't go through. In my opinion, it is common for prominent news outlets like Bloomberg to write about cryptocurrency with an excessive amount of expertise, so I will assume that Justin Weiss is unaware that it is incorrect to refer to XRP as Ripple's XRP. Those folks should know better than to listen to Ripple's XRP and do that with crypto media sources. It just makes me more angry. As much as I'd like to think otherwise, I can't help but wonder whether mainstream media outlets are behaving like tribal Bitcoin maxis when I see such behavior in crypto media. Nonetheless, it is what it is. In any event, Leighton Stewart, who was previously with the SEC, quoted a PC data steward who will continue in the firm's white-collar defense group, saying that she intends to establish a crypto and cyber defense business at White in case. With the introduction of numerous Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, it is now abundantly evident that crypto is here to stay. In light of the complexity and uncertainty of the enforcement landscape, concerns over cryptocurrency's legality will remain high for the foreseeable future, and now that Stewart has a history with the SEC, she is clearly criticizing crypto. But what exactly was the SEC's stance and what has it been like leading the charge against Coinbase and Ripple? Think about how terrible everything is. I don't think she's stupid, but the arguments are so ridiculous that it's hard to imagine anybody believes them. In general, I just believe these folks are terrible. Then she goes and says crypto will be around for a long time. Oh, isn't that correct? You started attacking it, hurting regular people, and now you think it's harmless. Are you now claiming that crypto is here to remain secure? That being the case, isn't it a good thing? She claims it will remain in place due to Bitcoin exchange-traded money, but for what reason? Something has changed about Bitcoin at its core. Now that the SEC has given their stamp of approval, it's merely a different product, and everything is okay. To put it simply, this is completely illogical. We are expected to believe in this form of craft, nevertheless. Also mentioning the story was John Dean's crypto law organization, who penned the following. Crypto is here to stay, according to the top SEC anti-crypto attorney who defected to a Wall Street law firm. This attorney was involved in numerous damaging filings and hearings in the Ripple case, including the attorney-client privilege arguments used to conceal the Hinman documents. I agree with that. Recall those fallacious claims, though? That's the one. Her attorney-client privilege graph looks like that. I mean, he has more daring endeavors. However, keep in mind that Bill Hinman was one of the highest-ranking officials at the SEC. He was the most dim-witted co-worker ever, yet he had attorney-client privileges with the other lawyers he was assisting. They obviously didn't believe what they were saying, because that's the kind of genius we were referring to. People, they were merely stating it for reasons. Also, I feel compelled to bring this out. I felt compelled to read this, though I do not intend to devote much time to it. Because, you know, we're talking about major government organizations making claims that no one can really accept. I thought it would be worth mentioning this. Check this out. The headline that according to the ECB, Bitcoin is worth $0. Regardless of your stance on Bitcoin, I find it amusing that the European Central Bank published a blog post cynically claiming that the cryptocurrency's fair value remains zero, despite the massive success of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETFs, into which investors have poured billions of dollars. Honestly, I'm not that enthusiastic about it. Despite its over $1 trillion market cap and their claims that it is worth $0, I have held on to it since 2017. Are you biased to some extent? Is it in your best interest to believe the European Central Bank when they spread this misleading story? Clearly, the euro persists. Somewhat bewildered by its own trajectory, it has lost 85% of its value in the past 20 years since its inception in 1999, and is rapidly approaching parity with gold. Bitcoin, according to Dr. Fabio Panetta of the European Central Bank, ECB, is worthless since it doesn't have any inherent qualities that make it a currency. Ignore the fact that investing is a gamble on the value of something whose future is completely unpredictable. And that asserts, incorrectly, That the supply of bitcoins is not set but can be altered by a decentralized network of computers, and that the value of bitcoins is not tied to any real economic good or service. This is obviously not true, as it is demonstrated in the Bitcoin design, both in the white paper and in the code. In addition, there are a lot of disputes. This one, in particular, never fails to make me giggle. Such arguments are baseless. People say that Bitcoin, or whatever cryptocurrency you choose, is worthless because it doesn't provide dividends, but you can't put a price on it. Because there are no dividends, Bitcoin is effectively worthless, and every time I hear that argument, I let out an audible sigh, palm my face, and roll my eyes. To put it another way, if you were being really forthright about it, you would be horribly miscalculating the true worth of Bitcoin based on an inaccurate valuation methodology. If I were you, would I go? Could you walk into a grocery shop, take a look at a banana, and think, this banana is worth $0 because it doesn't yield any dividends? In other words, would you do it? Or would you wonder whether the banana isn't worth as much because it doesn't have to pay dividends or something? It's only that these individuals need to see that these arguments are foolish. The euro has lost 85% of its value versus Bitcoin, which it is complaining about, but it has comically lost nearly 99% of its value versus Bitcoin, which adds insult to injury if volatility is the reason Bitcoins are terrible. Doesn't that crack you up? There was a 99% decline in its worth. It has taken the euro 15 years. Look, the same holds true for the US dollar as well. We're merely referring to the euro here, for the sake of clarity. This is exactly what I mean. It's hilarious. Get down to the business of discussing their perceived self-interest. The truth, those damned people. Even with the SEC, it's the same nonsense. Holy cow. They find us completely bewildered. What an absolute group of naivete. That's not my job description. Do not let anything I say influence your purchasing or selling decisions. Am I correct? Remember to always like and subscribe. Goodbye for now.